Lots of people know what are highlights, core shadow, cast shadow, core light, but not all of them know where to put them. So I'll give you my tips on where to shade properly and other shading tips in general. I recommend you guys to watch these videos first if you don't know what they are. Determining your shadow and your light. Personally, I'd rather just make everything dark and then make it brighter little by little. It helps because most of the time we need more shadow than light, and it gives us more contrast to the painting. While doing this, make sure we still remember our original colors, because sometimes we might be shading it wrong and have to start over again. Right when I start painting, I like to instantly mark the brightest spot, which is the plane that faces the light source the most, and then I gather all the other similar planes that face in the same direction and shade them with the same brightness. Spread the light. To make it brighter, replace some of the shadow with weaker light around your bright spots. Make sure to just not erase them like all around circles spread, especially with those that's supposed to be the shadow region. Leave them behind and don't do anything about them yet. If you're done with the lighting and it seems all good, it's just the sketch that's messing it up, then it's time for the next step, messing with the sketch itself. Make them blend with the painting. While doing so, take a look at your shading and find some mistakes. If you think it needs more light, give it more light. If you think it needs more shadow, give it more shadow. Don't worry about making mistakes. It's what every artist faces. Your accuracy on shading will develop over time. I think this is the most time-taking part, but it's also the part where it's getting realistic, because from here, you don't depend on lines anymore. Well, sort of. Applying your cast shadow. I recommend you to use references for this. If you can't find your fitting scene from Google Images or something, then 3D program is the next option. For PC, I recommend Blender. Although it might take a few days to recognize all the buttons you see, it's so worth it. You can literally do anything with it, from shading light to your own 2D animation, which I use for scribbling like this. For mobile, I recommend Magic Poser. I believe there's some lighting option there, I don't know. It's been a long time. It was long gone my phone that got stolen, but that's another story. And they're all free by the way, so check them out. Doing this is actually way more challenging than determining the highlight, because the stuff we're trying to draw is not just all cubes and easy. So personally, I wouldn't mess with those painting plans that have some major cast shadow going on, but even if I have to, I just wish that the shadow placement is at least okay. Applying reflected light, highlights, and other touches. If we have our object surrounded by one strong or multiple light sources, it's impossible to leave the darkest spot as it is. It might be better if we add some reflected light to it. Note that reflected light brightness is weaker, so keep that in our mind. When light hits an object, there's two reflections that's happening. The first one is diffuse reflection. This determines the color of the object, and it's reflected at literally every direction. This is why you can still see the same color even if you view it from many angles. But among them, there's this bright spot that's way brighter than the surrounding color. It is called highlight, and it is due to specular reflection. Unlike diffuse reflection that turns one big light into weaker scattered lights, specular reflection just straight reflects the big light once. That's it, and they still remain strong altogether. And that just yeet straight into your eyes, so you can imagine how bright it'll be when it happens to you. Specular reflection follows the law of reflection, and I can't explain it all on this video because of my grammar mistakes and obviously pronunciation errors. Believe me, I have to cut all of this like 1,000 times. This is also the part where we can exaggerate some lights and shadows just to make it prettier. Personally, I would like to shade parts that are facing away from the camera darker. This is what line arts do, by the way, so we might find ourselves already doing that with our sketch paint over. I sometimes like to exaggerate the highlights too, I don't know, it looks nice. And it's all done, congratulations! If you still find your shading ugly and you don't know what's wrong with it, then better go ask people for constructive criticism. Be it your family, your friends, a community,
or your crush. Oh, like, you know. I also recommend you guys to do research. So like, you don't just draw what you see from your references, but also you study from those references. Find like maybe a human head can be simplified as an oval, and an upper human body can be simplified as like trapezoids and stuff. You know, study your references. That's it.